had a lot of people ask me, what does the Court of Appeals do? Over in northwest Arkansas, in the corner, there are a bunch of district courts, there's circuit courts, there's a whole bunch of elections going on. And I struggled trying to explain what the Court of Appeals did for the longest time. And finally I was talking to one gentleman in Bentonville, and it just hit me. And I said, sir, do you watch football? He said, yeah, I watch football. I said, well, we're the replay officials up in the booth. We want to make sure that the play was called right. We can send it back to be replayed. We can call it affirmed. We can call it out of bounds. A whole bunch of things we can do, but our job is to make sure that the rules were followed in the courts below. And that's very important because the circuit court cases, Judge Carroll here in town, I believe, they're more focused on the litigants, the participants, how the facts and the law apply to them. The Court of Appeals has to have a broader view. It has to see how the case law applies to future litigants, how the previous case law applies. It's a much more broader scope, and that's where experience and temperament become important. I grew up in Paris, Arkansas. If you look at my push cards, I'm holding a lump of coal. What put food on my family's table was a coal mine. My daddy had a small coal mine in Paris, Arkansas. When I say small, I mean there were 5 of us working at it. When I was in the 8th grade, I'd already sacked groceries for my uncle. And when I was in the summer of my 8th grade year, my dad said, Kenneth, it's time for you to go to work. And he invited me to go to the coal mine with him. Like a dutiful son, I said, yes, sir, let's go, Dad. And for the next 6 years, every summer, I was working at the coal mine with my dad. Some people look at that picture of a lump of coal and say, man, that's cool. Hey, let me tell you, there's nothing cool about mining coal with your dad in Paris, Arkansas in 100-degree heat every day in the summer. You know, I thought it was pretty good, and he's going to be a real nice guy one summer, and he said, I tell you what, it's hot, son. Let's go to work at 6 o'clock. Well, I thought we'd get off early. Well, that just meant we just worked 2 hours longer. And that's like baling hay or working in the chicken houses or working in the milk barn. You do what you did, and it's a small town. But that's where I learned my values. That's where I learned what I am. I've been practicing law 30 years now, and I represent a lot of good people, a lot of people just like y'all. Maybe some of y'all. I can't say if it is or not, but this election is 7 counties. I have tried cases in every one of these 7 counties. I've tried over 100 jury trials. I've tried hundreds of bench trials. The Court of Appeals looks at workers' compensation cases, unemployment cases, civil cases, and criminal cases. I've done it all. I've done it several times all. I worked for PAM Transport for 10 years in the middle of my legal career, and while I was out there, I acted as a VP of HR, VP of Risk Management. I created self-insured workers' compensation plans in Arkansas, Texas, Mississippi, Florida, Ohio, Oklahoma. I've seen hundreds of workers' compensation claims. I still do family law. I've done adoptions. I've done breach of contracts. When I was out at PAM Transport, we had multi-million-dollar mergers and acquisitions. And I say all this not because I'm arrogant or not to show off. I say it because I believe that's what gives me the overall experience and the temperament and the ability to cut through the fog and get to the bottom line, which is still the truth. It sounds corny, but there's a lot of people out there who think our legal system is out of control. We've got to get it back. We have to have good people in there, have to have common sense, and what I pledge to do is that I'll call it like I see it. I'm not beholden to anyone. I say what I mean what I say, and most of all, I don't believe in judicial activism where judges have an agenda and change the law to suit their own needs. I don't believe in that. I pledge to y'all I won't do it. But most of all, what I pledge to do is I'm going to take that work ethic that I learned in Paris, Arkansas, and I've been practicing law for 30 years in all these areas, and I can take it to Little Rock tomorrow, and there won't be a learning curve. I can do it now, and I'm ready to serve. And I appreciate your vote. Thank y'all.